All right, Domenica. So my first question is, how have you been?
I've been good. Life has been lifing, but other than that, I can say that I have a good little support system. So it's been good. How about you?
I've been okay. Could be better. And that's why I asked the question because I want like the realest possible answer. So have you really been good, or are you just kind of saying that?
I'm just kind of saying
Yeah, yeah. Tell me,
that.
give me the real answer. Tell me how you really been.
So I recently just went through like a traumatic time in my life, with my living situation and moving. So it's been since I want to say November like 18th, it's been like up and down. Um, and it's been taking a kind of toll on my health and like not my health, my mental.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I just I'm just trying to stay positive through everything and keep a smile on my face because I always say if you smile through it, it will if you smile once a day, it will your day will be better.
I also think that you're allowed to be sad too.
Yeah, that's very true. I There's a lot of moments like even before I got on camera that I was like having like a little meltdown. My clothes situation I have. So basically to get into the story, I was living with I had recently for like 2 weeks moved in with my one ex and
You
because
moved in
of
with your ex.
yeah, my one ex. He's been in my life for about like 10 years.
Okay.
And so after we broke up about 8 years after our relationship, I mean, into our relationship, and then the last 2 years we just been like really close friends. And he was like there helping me through my hardship because my family dynamic is not the best.
Hmm.
But it got to the point where I have my own life, my own needs, and a person that I want to be with was not him. So in retaliation to all that, he just turned around and he kind of like just kicked me out. He still has my clothes, like most of my clothes that were at his house. He has them. I have like 3, 4 outfits
Hmm.
now that I have to keep on recycling and wearing, which I kind of really dislike. But I've been with my other ex,
Interesting. Wow.
and he's actually with me right now. He's in the bathroom. Um, and he's been like my support system more than my own family has been, and he's been like really helping me and really being there for me. And it's like in a way, well, not in a way, in like all ways. And I'm just very appreciative of him and the things he's doing for me. And you know, I know he had to stop his life and help me, so I'm like very grateful of that. And that's why I was saying like earlier in the chat, I was saying that I'm doing good, like pretty good, because he's making sure I'm okay. He's like very on top of me and like my mental health and taking my medications, getting me to my therapist and my psychiatrist appointment. But other than that, it's like the first ex I was telling you about. He found out about it, which I was not very secretive about being with my current ex.
Uh-huh.
So that's why he's like taking it out on me. I understand his father just passed away on
Hmm.
Thanksgiving Day. So it
Wow.
was like I knew he wanted me to be there for him, but my dad just died um back in August of 2024.
Oh,
And I at the moment I'm not emotionally available to be there for someone else in that type of scenario
romantically.
because I'm not fully over my own dad passing.
Mm.
So it's been very up and down with me.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot going on. I did, on your Instagram, I did say you ripped dad. So, I'm glad that you brought that up. And, how old was he when he passed?
My dad was 52.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's young.
yeah, the way he passed, it was out of nowhere. I went through 3 different things, and the third thing being my dad passing away, and it all happened in the span of 3 days.
Wow.
So it was like I was supposed to move out last August was the end of my lease, and so when I moved out, I had a place already set up. I had money set to the side. I know me sometimes, like when I go out and drink with when I used to go out and drink with my friends,
Mm.
I used to be one of those like happy drunks, like, oh, who wants a shot? Who wants a shot? And carelessly spend my money. So what I did was I pulled all of it out in cash and I stuck it in a shoebox. And
Smart.
my one roommate, she went into my room 3 days before we moved out, stole all my cash.
No way.
Yeah, so my deposit, my first and my security deposit, my first and last month's rent, gone.
Oh,
Money for my furniture was gone. So it was like now I'm like completely broke at that
you call
point.
the cops?
I didn't get the cops involved. I knew where she lived, so I went to her house,
Oh,
but I didn't know she already at that point. But she moved, and where she moved to, I was supposed to move in with her originally. So I came to that apartment that she got, and I knew exactly where it was at. But she didn't even move there. She went to Florida.
oh wow.
Yeah, so it was like, hmm. I'm really stuck right now because I did go to her house. So right after that happened, I was like scrambling around trying to call any of my friends that I knew that lived on their own that I can like, hey, can I crash with you just for a little bit, until I get back on my feet? And it was not working out the best. So I resorted, and this is not the best way. I resorted in going on a dating app, and I reached out to somebody I didn't even know at the time, and I he wanted to go help me, but he put me in a position where the house that he told me I was supposed to like he was going to set me up in was one of his friend's house, and they don't live there. He was
Okay.
like, "That's just a second house. You can stay there. You'll be by yourself." Come to find out, when I got there, I was not by myself. There was two guys there, and they wind up drugging me and then raping me.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, so that happened, and then the very next day that that happened, I wake up. My dog is now, because I have a dog. My dog is now locked in the bedroom for over 12 hours. Didn't even go out, didn't eat because I was unconscious, and I wind up going to the hospital for that. And as I'm in the hospital, I get a phone call on. This is August 4th. We're going on. I get a call from the hospital. I mean, from my mom. My dad's in the hospital. And I'm like, why is my dad in the hospital? So apparently he came downstairs on Sunday. He was complaining that his left arm was hurting. It was like tingling. And my mom was like, you should go to the hospital. Um, he's like, oh, I'll just take a nap and I'll see how it goes from there.
Oh man.
So he took a nap, and when he took a nap, he snored, and then my mom said made a weird noise, and he died. He had a
Oh, in
heart
his
attack right
sleep.
there, right in his sleep, like right, I want to say around like 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was like so fast. And then I get out of my hospital like a few hours later. I was at Penn Hospital. He went to Jefferson in Philadelphia.
Hmm.
And I make my way over to the hospital. Mind you, I'm still like all delirious from what
Yeah.
happened to me.
Hmm.
I get to the hospital. Thank At the time it was thank God they got him back on, like they put him on kind of like I kind of not life support, but they got him they resuscitated him.
Hmm.
And he was like they had a monitor in his mouth. He was still breathing. Um but then at midnight that night, going on to August 5th, we get a phone call from the hospital. His kidneys were failing now.
Oh.
So it was very like we're all sitting there at my mom's house because I haven't lived in my parents' house since I was 18 years old, and I'm 31 now.
Uh-huh.
So we're all sitting there and we're all like confused on we just thought we had him back. And so I had to eventually go back to the house where my dog was, where that incident happened to me, because I still had no other place to go. And
Uh,
with my family, there was only two bedrooms. I mean, I'm sorry, three bedrooms, and there's five kids and my two parents. So I'm the second one of five.
okay.
But he he passed away, I want to say the next day around in the afternoon. And it was so weird how it happened because I went back to the house where my dog was. And for some reason, my phone, this never happens. My phone was on the floor away from the charge, like off the charger, and my phone had died. So I'm getting phone calls from like 10:30 in the morning, like, where you at, where you at, where you at? Because I see all the text messages and the voicemails. And when I finally charge my phone, I hear a voicemail going, I just want to let you know your dad just passed away.
Oh, there's the hospital.
No, it was my mom who like texted me, and instead of me getting there, I didn't make it on time. I came like maybe like 20 minutes after he had already passed.
Mm.
My brother, my two brothers, and my two sisters, and my mom was there. And me and my older brother don't have the best relationship at all.
Hmm.
But I don't know why he was the first person I ran into, and I just like collapsed in his arms. And me and my dad didn't always see eye to eye or have the best type of relationship. He didn't really agree with me being transgender, and going through that process. And the last encounter I had with him in person was Christmas Eve, either Christmas Eve of 2023, and
Okay.
that was the last time I saw him in person.
Mm.
I spoke to him after, in April, but when I saw him in December, I didn't get to tell him like I loved him when I walked away because he was trying to read me a script out of the Bible, and I like retaliated back with, well, wasn't Jesus his best friend Mary? Wasn't she like an escort or like a hoe?
Uh-huh.
And then the disciples, they were criminals.
Hmm.
And I looked at my dad, I said, and you're a criminal. So I mean, like, why are you judging me when in the Bible it says, God don't make no mistakes and he don't like when people judge. And from that me saying that to him, he got really, really mad. So I just got up off the table and I walked out of the house and I never came back over the house. I just felt a disconnect between me and my dad after he said that to me because I don't tell him how to live his life and I wouldn't want him to tell me how to live mine.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was the fact I still had a little bit resentment for him because I had broken my right arm when I was like back in 2016. And I came into like I want to say like about $50,000, and he took all of it and opened a business, and I never saw it again, and I never
Wait, your
got it.
dad took your money?
Yeah, he took $50,000, opened a trucking business, and then it closed down two years
How did
later.
he take $50,000?
So at the time I was not 18 yet. So he came with me to open up my bank account, and he kept my bank card.
Oh.
And he was like, when you get 18, when you're 18, you could have the card. But for now, I want to teach you how to save money. But in reality, he wasn't teaching me how to save money. He was using my money and open up a tractor trailer business.
Wow.
Now I don't like tractor trailers. I'm not like I'm a dancer. I'm not a truck driver.
Uh-huh.
So it was like it wasn't even something that I was interested in doing. I wanted to eventually invest the money and then open my own dance studio,
Hmm.
but I never got to do that. I never got to like have go buy an apartment with it or anything like that. It was he needed the money. So me being his kid, I was just like I didn't know what to say at the time. I was like, "You're my dad, and I'm supposed to trust you. You're supposed to be my guide and light."
Hmm.
And I did. I followed in his footsteps, and I went with whatever he said. And I never saw the money. And when my mom brought it up to him, he denied it and said no. But it's like on the bank statements, it says an LLC for tractor trailer. I think it was Magic Logistics. It was called,
Hmm.
and I didn't know nothing about that. And then when I went to go open up a few years later, I went to go open up a bank account at PNC Bank, and because he ran my card down so bad, he turned around. They turned around and told me I'm not allowed to open up a bank with them for 99 years.
What?
Yes,
What
because
is
that's
that about?
because I guess he went into debt. So I'm not 100% sure why I couldn't do it, but it was because the trucking business, and he tried to open his business, which I commend him on doing that. However, I don't like that he did it with my money,
Of
but
course.
if like I say it flopped 2 years later because it shut down, like he couldn't keep up with it. And my advice when I got older and I was able to like know a little bit more about it because I like to do research on things. I told him, I said, well, you were buying used trucks. And I learned one thing growing up around my first job, they said you get what you pay for. So if you're going to buy something used, be prepared to know that it's going to have it's going to have its little quirks and it's not going to work all the way.
Hmm.
But if you buy something new, you're getting no one used it before. You're getting all new things, and it's not like it was like a hand-me-down sort of thing. So it's like you're getting everything that's working properly, everything's running smoothly. And what he was doing was he was buying used stuff, and just
Uh,
like how he bought me a used car
mm,
that the oil kept on leaking.
mm.
Yeah, like it wasn't working because he was taking the easier way out.
Yeah, so it sounds like he like was trying to be as cheap as possible and buying like $2,000 to $3,000 trucks or maybe. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you've been through a lot. That's I also want to say that it sounds to me like your resentment for your father was 100% justified. I mean, in my opinion, he should have accepted who you are, and like you said, he shouldn't have tried to shove his philosophies down your throat. There's nothing wrong with being trans, which I did want to talk about if you're open to it. But
Yeah.
it sounds to me like because I have Christian parents too, and they would not accept it if I did go trans. I know. But yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like your resentment for him was 100% justified.
Yeah, and I sometimes I really talking about it sometimes like it gets me like in a like a I'm like this. Because like part of me is like that's my dad, I love him, and that's who like the first man I had loved.
Hmm.
But then it's like you betrayed me. So it's like, what do I do when, you're calling me all these derogatory names because I'm not doing what you want? Or like when I used to live home, I would be all the way on the third floor and he would call me downstairs just to grab the remote off the table and he's sitting on the couch. And I'm like, what are you picking on me for? And it was like he let my little brother get away with everything. But me, like I had to watch my sisters, which I am now appreciative of because we have a great relationship.
Uh,
But it was like I couldn't go out on weekends with my friends. I had to stay home so him and my mom could go out. I had to watch the girls all the time. I took them to dance in school. I was also going to dance in school. I missed out on school days because I was taking care of my sisters, and it was just a lot back and forth. So it was like I did have, I still do, and I hate saying it, but I do have resentment for him in a way. But it's because I just like he never guided me the way I needed to be guided. Like if you asked me how to like do taxes, I had to learn all that by myself. Where my dad should have taught me that.
yeah.
Did I go to a dealership and buy my first car?
Mhm.
No, because he wanted to be take the easy way out, and he wanted to buy a car off of Craigslist. That the car wind up like dying and like pooping out, like
Yeah.
a year after having it.
And that's why I think it's really important. I'm going to say it again, but even though he's gone, I think your resentment is 100% justified. I mean, you have the right to be angry that he didn't teach you how to do taxes, that that didn't accept who you are, and I think it's really important to to allow yourself to feel those emotions, even if he's gone. I think it's important to allow it. I don't think that you have to have those emotions gone.
I do appreciate that. I do.
So, yeah, I mean, at what point in your life did you consider yourself trans? Was that a child?
So as a baby, I want to say I was about like 3 years old when I got my first Barbie doll. And my grandma Millie was her name. Me and her were like we were like white on rice. We went together like this.
Mhm.
So it was. I have her name tattooed. It's upside down, but I have her name tattooed right here. It was my first tattoo I got.
Is that your dad's mom or your mom's mom?
My mom's mom.
Okay.
And then when I want to say I was eight, no, 6 years old, she bought me my first wig. So I was like, my grandma like really loved me. She really like I was with her every single weekend. If she was still alive today, like I probably would have been in a much better place in my life because she was the one that always looked out for me. And my mom was she was there, but my mom had me at 21 years old. She was still a kid,
Yeah.
and she had my older brother when she was 15 or 16. So it was like now I'm her second kid, and I understand now that you didn't have a social life growing up, but I also understand that I wasn't the one that told you to get pregnant. So so my grandma really took me under her wing, and God rest her soul. When I was 8 years old, she had passed away, and I was sleeping in her arms. Like I was at her house sleeping over, and then I got woken up by her boyfriend at the time, and he told me like your grandmom's dead.
Wow.
So like that like kind of threw me off. So I just like put me like always feeling like I'm a girl in a boy's body off until about I want to say 2015, and I started dressing up again.
Hmm.
And what I did was I started doing like drag performances, and I was young, so it was like at the time nobody was really IDing you. If you're a performer, you're performing, and that's how I got into like nightclubs.
Hmm.
And I did have a fake ID.
Who
So
doesn't?
yeah, right. And so I got into my first relationship with a guy, and at first I was like, all right, let me just suppress it. Let me suppress it. And I did. And then it wasn't until about like, I want to say a year into our relationship where it was like Christmas. I started, well, right before Christmas, I started dressing up like a girl around him just to see how, like, he would take it.
Uh-huh.
Um, he wanted to buy me my first pair of like high heel boots.
Hmm.
So I was like shocked by that, but he did not want to be with somebody who was trans. So we had ended our relationship so I could pursue like going down that road. And me being naive at the time, I would talk about it with my friends, and my one friend would be like, I really want my kids to meet who you are like as a boy, not as who you're going to be. And I like took that in and I was like, damn, like no one's really going to accept me if I do this. And then I started doing my little research and I see a lot of trans girls that were not getting jobs, had to resort in sex work, had to like do stuff that nobody wants to do, that everybody like looks down and frowns upon. And I just thought to myself, I gotta change that narrative because I can't go down that road. And so what I did was I put it on the back burner again, and I waited until about 2020 where the pandemic happened.
Hmm.
At that point, I said, you know what? People are dying. I might not be here for so long. God forbid, I could have got COVID. I could have died. So I'm not gonna go out living a life that I don't want to live. So what I'm going to do is I mustered up all this confidence and was like, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, and I'm going to go about it. So November 9th of 2020, I had just left my doctor's appointment. I was on my way to the CVS, and I was picking up my first round of prescription for my estradiol,
Hmm.
and I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So right before I took that pill, I put the pill like right in the tip of my like on my teeth.
Uh-huh.
I held it in my mouth and I sent a long text message. I was sitting next to my best friend at the time. And I was like, it basically in the message, the group message I put to my brothers, my sisters, and my parents,
Uh-huh.
I said, this is the life journey I'm taking. I would appreciate it if you would be by my side through this journey. If not, I don't care because I'm not going to sit here and listen to small minded people. Not saying my family's small minded, but I'm not going
I
to
mean,
listen to
it's okay
small.
to say that though.
Yeah, because honestly, why I think that is like they're not cultured. They didn't like travel out. They
Mhm.
lived in South Philadelphia their whole life, and then maybe went to Jersey, which was right over the bridge from Philly. So it wasn't really that far. But nobody has traveled, lived in different states. Like with me, I ran away from my house at 18 years old. So I lived in New York. I lived in Florida. I lived in California.
Wow.
I traveled to Boston. I haven't been to many places, but I've been in enough places where I saw different types of people. I saw how people from South Jersey versus people from the Jersey Shore are completely different. And people from Jersey Shore, like they'll actually care, like, oh hi, how you doing? And be nice. Where in Philly, you say hi to somebody and it's like, why are you talking to me?
Yep.
Or don't hit on me. I don't want to be hit on. I'm not interested in you, but it's like I just said hi to you. I
Yeah.
wasn't hitting on you.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. And after that long text message I sent, I got a lot of good feedback. My mom was like, I always knew. So my mom has been the only one that has very like really supported me in my family aspect. My sisters also do support me. Like they'll always call me she, her. They'll call me Domenica, or I hate this nickname, but they'll call me D. I hate that name. But I appreciate that they're even trying. Where my brothers, they're they're not really the best. Like they'll still call me by my dead name, or this is my favorite part. When I get into an argument with them, you're a guy, you're a man, you're a man. But when they need something, oh my sister.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't like that because you shouldn't be saying that to me. It should be a mutual respect thing when you're mad at me and when you're not mad at me.
And Dominica, you are allowed to cut family off. You know that.
No, yeah, I definitely, I'm a, honestly, I'm a really big on cutting people off. Like at one point where I
Same.
was with my one ex for 10
Same.
years, my family I used to put them on 6 month punishment. Are you going to disrespect me? That's fine. I'm not going to talk to you for 6 months. I'm not going to go out of my character. I'm not going to degrade myself or belittle myself to go into someone else's level that one don't fully understand it, and two is just being very negligent on the information that I'm providing you or that you can actually really go look up, and you're not being a supportive family member. So what I did was me and my older now to this day, like me and my older brother, I cut ties with him. I have my own chosen family now, where I have a lot of people who do actually support me that I would never even know that they would have supported me. And with me becoming trans, I ran into a whole different realm of men, a whole different realm of women, and a different realm of like living life. Where I was scared and I didn't know that, I didn't want to resort into sex work or doing anything like that because
Mhm.
that's not in me. Like not saying that people have no self-respect doing it. It was just how I was brought up and how it was looked on me was, yeah, it was quick money, but at the same time I lived my life as like with around a lot of excuse me, I was around a lot of straight people.
Mhm.
So I knew that if I wanted the life I wanted, which I wanted to be married, I wanted to be in a relationship, I wanted like, I want love. I think
Yeah.
everybody does.
Yeah.
But no guy is going to want somebody like a girl who's like basically ran through because then they're always going to have that look. And being in South Philly or being in Philly in general, it's a big city, but it's very small and a lot of people talk. So it's like I don't want to be talked about where it's like, oh, she's a hoe or oh, she sleeps with this amount of people. So I made sure like at a young age to always just keep my body count low and be mindful of that. Even when I had low self-esteem at the time, I always told myself, don't overdo it because then I scared myself because of STDs, HIV, all
Mhm.
this other stuff, and I'm not 100% like knowing all of it because there's still stuff that I'm learning where I thought if I'm bleeding and someone and sperm like blood and sperm connecting with each other that you could catch something like that,
Yeah.
but I also found out that that's not how to go. I'm still like iffy with that, so I don't want to touch base on all that
Yeah.
fully, but
So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that there are a lot of people listening right now who genuinely don't understand, trans people, including myself. Like, you're the first trans person I've ever done a podcast with. I'm an Uber driver, and I've had like one or two trans people. But I think that we should help people understand what it's like and like what's going on in your head, because I think a lot of people, don't fully understand what it's like or like how you think. Can you help people understand, including myself? Can you help us understand, like, what's going on in your body, what's going on in your mind, like how because obviously there are a bunch of people, who say, oh, you're anti-science, this and that. So how would you respond to those people?
So for me, I can honestly say, thank God, I never came across somebody saying that to me, but
Mhm.
I do have friends that have had that happen to, like, oh, you shouldn't be going to the women's bathroom. But
Mhm.
it's like when you take hormones, it's different than being like a drag queen or a cross dresser. You're on hormones, so not only is your body completely changing, but your mind's changing, and that's the first thing that starts is your mind. And you go from having this like aggressive attitude to being like more soft, subtle, and like a feminine. And it's like weird. I don't. It's weird to explain, but I felt my whole mindset, like the things I used to be mad at, I don't get mad at it no more. And the way I look at people, I don't the way I used to look at people, I don't look at them the same no more. And then your skin, like my skin, start getting real soft
Really?
and yeah, like started softening up. My hips started like growing a little bit more, like
Mm.
they started growing out, and that takes about 2 years on the medication for all that for like your body to start changing. Um,
So the
and then
medication increases estrogen.
yeah, so I'm on spiralactone and estradiol, and spiralactone is a testosterone blocker, and then the estradiol is just like the injectable. I do the injectables,
Hmm.
and I do that once a week, but they're the most effective. So what that does is like I'm not so like slim and thing. Like me, I used to have it be heavy handed. So I am more like, graceful. Everything's like a little bit more like touch to it. And it comes naturally. It's not like something you force. My face did a complete change. I used to like have like a fatter face. Now it like sunk in a little bit more. My cheekbones got
I
higher.
need that.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, I'm really, really happy. The only downfall about it is, and this is where I try to express to people that are not trans that don't understand, is you really shouldn't come at, like, be so like aggressive to and mean to like trans people or people in general.
Mhm.
But with trans people, their mind is completely changing, and a lot of trans people, they go into a deep, deep depression where they'll kill themselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
And
suicide
it's
rate is
like,
very high for trans people.
yeah, well, it's because of the medication that they're on. The body's changing. Some people rush into their transition. I took the other way where I kind of cruised through it. I got my chest done. I want to say 2 years after I started taking my hormones. But even before that, my face, I already had a feminine face. I was like already a feminine person,
Hmm.
but my face like kind of like all like got put together, like my skin tightened up without even getting Botox or fillers or anything like that, which I don't have. Not yet, but it comes with a lot of surgeries. Like, like there's some trans girls that still look like men,
Hmm.
and you know, going through the traumatizing face reconstructing, they break your whole entire face. They have to put it back together. Now you're walking around with like a big head wrap on with two like blood tubes out the back of your ears for about like a month.
Wow.
I actually have a surgery coming up next Thursday. I'm getting my voice done, and I won't be able to
Really?
speak. Yeah, and I won't be able to speak for a whole month.
Wow.
And then like a lot of the trans girls, because they're in the sex work field, because it's this like people are discriminating against them. They don't want that look for their company that a trans girl's there. So a lot of trans girls keep their guy private part, and that's how they make money, because there's a lot of guys that are married to women or that are just like not gay or not into it. They'll go right to the trans girl because they get the best of both worlds.
Hmm.
And no one realizes that when guys do that, that leaves kind of the trans person in such a messed up mental state, because it's like, oh wow, you gaslighted me and you told me you wanted me and you love me, or that you wanted to be with me, and then now you're in front of your friends, or you're back to your normal life, your daytime life, I like to call it, and now I'm getting completely ignored. You're being mean to me, or you're just anything along them sorts. I've seen it happen so many times where even a guy hitting a trans girl because the trans girl said no, she don't want to hook up with him. And
Wow.
because it demasculated him a little bit, he
Hmm.
like hit her. He like cocked back his hand and just punched her right in the face. I seen girls like because they want to like quickly transition, the silicone just like leaking into their blood, and like they have kidney failures.
Hmm.
Like my one friend, her still she used to be, her body used to be like a nice figure eight. It wasn't overly done.
Hmm.
Out of nowhere, she got hit one day, and the way she got hit and she hit the floor, something in her erupted and it started leaking in to her bloodstream. Now she has kidney failure. Her like and because of the medicine she's on, half of her teeth are going. I had a little bit of advantage going through that. I think because later on in life, when I transitioned, it was around the time that it started becoming more acceptable.
Yeah.
However, you still see nowadays where people are just like, oh, like I said earlier, oh, you can't use the women's bathroom, or oh, you're a man, or oh, like this, and it's like it's degrading, because a lot of the trans women are more like a woman than an actual woman is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of real women, like cis women, are doing the surgeries just like trans women are, just to look like that. Like they look like, with the big duck lips, the higher cheekbones, the like pulling the cat eye look.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like a lot of trans women were the model for these for cis women. Now there's a lot of cis women that are natural,
Hmm.
and that really don't care about that. But it's the ones that turn around and have, oh, you're a tranny for no reason at all. They'll just turn around and they'll just want to start a fight because they feel like you don't fit in society. the
Well,
way that
I
they
actually
want
think it
to.
has more to do with the way they feel about themselves. I think that is just them being insecure and releasing their insecurities onto you, projecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said something earlier. You said that when you were younger, you felt like you were a girl trapped in a boy's body. So
Hmm.
help us understand what exactly that feels like.
So, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry,
No
baby.
problem. No problem.
Baby, can you give me a charger? Um, Sorry about that. I need a charger. My phone was about to die.
No problem.
Um, so the feeling of that was like so me and my cousin, she's a girl. She was born a girl.
Hmm.
We're the same age. She played with trucks. I played with Barbies.
Interesting.
I liked all the feminine things. I like dressing up. I like makeup. She liked trucks, wrestlers. She just like, and it was weird because our families used to be like, you guys should just like do a soul switching body.
Yeah.
But I just always was so, like I said, feminine in a way. Like I sat there and I thought about it like over the years as I got older, and I'm like, wow, like I really did. I could run in high heels before I could walk in sneakers.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very, very, very weird.
Uh,
My mom always thought it was funny. She's like, "You walk better than I do," and I learned how to dance in heels, and I don't know. I just did a lot of girly things
hmm.
where it was like I didn't like doing baseball. I didn't like sports. And I started liking them recently as I got older, but I didn't like doing them. Like I felt like it was such a masculine thing to do, and I didn't like doing masculine things. I just really loved being like soft, supple, and like, oh thank you, and do like one of the little giggly girl laughs
Yeah.
and I still do it to this day. I do like I call it my awkward laugh, but it's like someone will say something, I'm like, I'll just like do this like little laugh, this little like weird. It's like a weird laugh, but
So do
yeah,
you feel more comfortable now dressing as a woman? Do you feel more comfortable now than before?
yeah. Honestly, I have more confidence than I've ever had before. Now that I did the transition versus when I wasn't trained, like when I was as a boy,
Hmm.
and it's not about like what I wear, and I always tell like I'm one of the we call so instead of saying trans, we call each other the dolls. So I'm one of the dolls where it's like I'll take a new trans girl in and I'll show her it's not about having a wig on or having your hair and makeup done. It's and a lot of them do it just for a guy. You have to do it if you feel it because you're not going to be completely happy because you're going to be running after all these men, and it's not going to work out in your favor because I'm like a big firm believer in the universe. It's not going to work because you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Mm.
Where like you should live your life to the day-to-day basis as a woman. Like wake up. If you have a boyfriend, tend to your boyfriend, tend to his needs.
Hmm.
Not saying that's what all women should do, but also if you're in a relationship, don't be like so self-centered. And a lot of the times
Great
that's where,
advice.
yeah, don't be because you shouldn't be like that.
Great
I feel as
advice.
though if it's two people in a relationship, two people gotta work. It's two different personalities that gotta mesh together.
Hmm.
And if you're just throwing a wig on, and a lot of the younger trans girls, they like to throw breastplates on, or they'll dress up like a girl. And a lot
For
of
the
the
free
drag queens,
meals.
huh?
For the free meals.
Yeah, for the free meals because they think like, oh, pretty privilege, but it's like it's way deeper than that.
Uh,
It's a way your mind works, your mind thinks, and how you just move, like your body moves, like and I don't mean like physically move, just like how you move through life in a sense. So, and then there's the cross dressers and there's the drag queens that just like to portray themselves as women, and then that's where it gets a lot of the trans girls and we all get categorized together, and it's really a whole bit three different realms
yes,
and three
yes.
different levels to all that.
Hmm.
And it's like it gets overwhelming sometimes because when you're sitting there trying to explain yourself as a trans woman to a man or to anybody,
Hmm.
to be like, well, just because they slap on a wig, a fake body, and they go and sing and dance on stage doesn't mean that I'm going to do that. And a lot of the cross dressers are the ones that are more easily accessible
Hmm.
to a guy could just walk, any guy can just walk up and be like, yeah, I'm going to sleep with you. Okay. And because it's a guy, yeah, sure. And I have friends that do that. And for me, it's like I'm more like kind of reserved. Yeah, I might wear the outfits you see on my Instagram that I wear, and they might be short and revealing, but that's because I have a nice body, and at the moment, until I get older, I want to show off my nice body. But that doesn't mean that I'm allowing men to come over and touch me.
Right.
Because I got into a debate before with a guy where it was like, oh, you're wearing this outfit, so you must want to be touched. And it's like, oh no, I didn't put this outfit on to come out for you to touch me in a sexual way. I put this outfit on because I can wear this outfit.
That's how rapists think.
Yeah, and I agree.
He sounds like a horrible, horrible person. So I have friends who are therapists, and we actually got into a debate, me and my friend. I won't say his name, but we got into a debate because he was telling me, he gets a lot of trans people, and he was saying that a lot of them just seem very unhappy, very very miserable, and that's his logic to not be a trans person. And this is what I said. I said, well, there's a selection bias because you're a therapist. You're getting the depressed people. You're not getting the happy trans. You're getting all the depressed people. So isn't that just a selection bias? Like,
Yeah,
you see what I'm
yeah, I
saying?
agree. I agree. I just feel like, a lot of the trans people that are depressed, well, one for me, I go to therapy.
Hmm.
I have a therapist. I am on medication. I really am a big advocate for Zoloft. A lot of people, some people don't work for it. It works wonders for me, but it keeps me. I actually just never was a depressed person. Like even before, I was always happy. I got now as I'm older, I'm a little bit more depressed, but I'm not to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I hate life.
But that's not because of the way you dress. It's because of
What I
what
went through.
happened in the past.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's like what I went through as a like child versus like a teenager and a young adult and where I'm at now. That's why I was a little bit depressed and my life choices. It wasn't because I transitioned because that's something I always wanted to do. And I knew I'm going to do that
Hmm.
because I always was that one kid in school where like I got an award. I don't know, in like eighth grade they gave you awards at the end of the year. I got awarded student to most likely achieve their goals and to do what basically do what they say they're going to do. And I did. I was on TV before. I did a dance. It was called D2XX Dance Reality TV. I was a host on there. I did commercials for my dance in school. Like I had like an adventurous life. I did dance recitals. Like I had a lot of fun. And with the good comes the bad, and you got to take both of them. So a lot of good I did. I also am human. So I made some poor decisions and some poor choices, but I didn't let that define who I was. Because if I sat back and like, for instance, I did something at one point in my life recently where I was so depressed that I got myself so like intoxicatedly out of my mind that I ran away from somebody helping me,
Hmm.
and I completely blanked out, forgot where I was at, where I was going, and where I was running to. And it got to the point where like I realized I wasn't on my medication for about a week. My brain was just running rampant because I wasn't happy with the situation I was in.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to run, and I knew like running. That's the one thing I always did. I would always run. And when I run, I mean like I would either like mentally run or I'm physically running away just to get somewhere that I know I'm not going to get to. And when I ran and I finally came back to my senses, I was really scared about where I was at. I didn't know where I was. I like looked around. I had to go up to somebody and I had to be like, um, "Do you know how to get to this place?" And you're like, "Oh, you have to go back that way." And I ran so fast that I surpassed it. I surpassed my location where I was supposed to go by like 20 blocks.
Hmm. So it sounds like running is therapeutic for you.
Yeah, it's therapeutic, but at the same time, I realize now that I can't keep on running from my problems because if I run, they're still going to be right there
Yep.
behind me.
You got to face them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to face them. And the skeletons I have in my closet, we're just now learning to become friends with each other.
Hmm.
So it's like I'm starting to love the bad version of myself that I once was because I understand now that that person is always going to be a part of me. And there's
Right.
not going to be nothing I can do to turn back the hands of time and change that. So I have to just accept the good with the bad, and just I call that person. So I say that person, like the bad version of me, I call her Dominique. So Dominique and Domenica are just merging into one, and um they're becoming good friends. I won't say the best of friends right now, but I'm still learning, I'm still healing. But at the same time, I have to accept what I done in the past and realize that I can't change nothing. I can just always move forward and grow as a person.
You can
And
forgive yourself.
yeah, and that's what I do. I do forgive myself um on a lot of stuff. There's other things I have trouble forgiving myself on, but that's because of what society puts out into the world that I have to feel like I have to abide by, and I don't want to abide by that. I'm an Aquarius, so I really have this natural born rebellion. Like I rebel. When you say I can't do something, I'm gonna do it because you told me I can't do it.
That makes you want to do it even more.
Yeah, it makes me, and it won't be like I'm doing it spitefully. It's just like I will naturally do that. Like it would just like, okay, you said I can't do this, now watch me do it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up external about you said something about external validation, which I wrote down because I think that so I think that you can relate to what I'm about to say. So I'm 35, a little bit older, and the older I get, the less I care about what people think about me, and the less I care what people think about me, the easier life gets. And I'm
Yeah.
sure I was gonna say, can you relate to that feeling?
Oh my God, yeah. Like I was having a conversation the other day, and I was like saying like I don't care what if someone saw me like in a messed up state, like I don't care because one, they're not paying my bills. Two, I'm probably never going to see that person again. And three, why do I have to care what I cared so much growing up about what other people thought about me that I'm at the point now where I don't care. I don't care. Not everyone's gonna like me, and not everyone's gonna hate me. So I take it for what it is, and if you like me for who I am, then you know that I'm gonna like you for who you are too, and I know that you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, and we're both gonna have our days, but that's just life, and that's how life moves. That's how the world
Yeah.
goes around.
When we talk, even when we were talking on Instagram, I felt like you have a very, very strong sense of empathy. Like, for example, you felt really bad for postponing a few hours later. So I'm
Yeah,
wondering, would you consider yourself an extremely empathetic person?
I would say I'm very empathetic. I do have a wall I keep up sometimes where I come off as I don't want to say not the nicest person, but I come off as like very like hard headed. Like I won't believe what anyone tells me because of what I experienced in my past. But I also will empathize with them. But at the same time, I have a hard time letting people in now. So, but I can definitely like listen to everybody else. Like a lot of my friends and a lot of random strangers. Somehow, when I go out and drink with my when I used to go out and drink with my friends, somehow, some way, I would always be the one that gets trapped in a corner, and I'm hearing everyone's problems, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening, I'm giving great advice. I need to take my own advice sometimes, but then when it comes to it being my turn for my turn to tell my problems, nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm happy that we're having this conversation because I've been told by several people I'm a good listener, and I've learned that to be true. So I think that oh man, I had something so important to say. We were talking about external validation. Damn, it was so good. What the hell was it? All right, I'll get back to it. I also wanted to ask you, is depression a side effect of the medication?
Yes,
It is.
yeah. So, um, if you already have depression, which I want to say about 92% of the whole world has
Mhm.
a little bit of depression,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it definitely enhances it. Um, Not only from the medication, but from from your day-to-day
Mhm.
people that are not validating you, not taking your emotions into consideration, not like, you could say, oh, like say me and you're having a conversation, a
Mhm.
very deep conversation, and it's like you're not emotionally supporting me,
Mhm.
where it's like, how am I supposed to be a certain way if I'm always getting like, if I feel like I'm getting attacked?
Mhm.
And it's like, that puts you more into a deeper depression because now it's like for people who overthink like I do, it's like I could have said this right. I could have said it this way. I could have said it this way. And now I'm like rethinking this conversation that I just had with you for like hours, and then like days later, I'll still think about it. And it's like, what if I said something else to make the conversation go this way instead of making it go that way? And that honestly puts you more into a depression.
Oh yeah.
Plus, with the hormones and your mind changing, it just becomes, I don't want to say a lot, but it becomes a certain kind of way.
What would you say if you were to have a conversation with, let's say, your 10-year-old self? What would you say to that self?
I would say to my 10-year-old self that you're going to go through such traumatic experiences in your life that are going to break you
Hmm.
all the way down. And you just need to keep your head up, maybe be a little bit smarter and not trust in the people that you have trusted in the past, and that your family is not always going to have your best interests, that they're going to only be having their interests on what they want you to do, not what you want to do. And that there's going to be people that come and go into your life, and you need to learn at a young age that they're going to be a lesson, a blessing, or they're going to be like your ray of sunshine, or they could be like an idol for you. But until then, you just need to keep pushing forward and don't fall. Because I caught myself falling a lot. So for my 10-year-old self, I'm like, don't fall. And if you fall, make sure you get back up. And when you get up, make sure you get up with intent, and you get up with, a motive. Don't
Yeah,
just get up and start crawling again. Get up and start running.
yeah, I really like that when you switched it to get back up, because the thing is everybody falls, right? Everybody falls, everybody has problems, and everybody fails sometimes. But the important thing is to get back up after you fail, because and to understand that it happens to everyone. I remember what I was gonna say before. I'm so happy because that was really bugging me. What is your understanding of why you have a hard time letting people in?
Because I was always let down.
Hmm.
So, how it originally started was with my older brother. Even though I was a kid, I was like 5, 6 years old. Oh, you do this for me, and I'll take you to the movies. And I was like, okay, yay! Like I want to go. I want to get out of the house. I want to go to the movies. I would do it. I wouldn't go to the movies, and it was repetitive. It kept on happening. Then I got older. It was, oh, it was my manipulation. Oh, you do this, I'll do that for you. And me being who I was, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it for you because that's just the person I am. I like to make other people happy.
Hmm.
But then it's like when it's not reciprocated, then I become like I get let down. Now I'm like mad. And then when it's the same person doing it to me, now I'm gonna get aggressive. Like I start getting aggressive. And I don't like getting like that because I'm really not a confrontational type of person.
Hmm.
But I feel like because I got let down so much, and where it started was with my family, the people that are supposed to like love and protect you, that just made it a lot harder to where I go over my friend's house now and I see them with their parents and the good connection they have and how they can be best friends with their parents. I don't have that. And I get so mad, but I also have my heart broken so many times that each time my heart got broken, it was like another layer of bricks getting put up on top of stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah, it's really interesting because the older I get, the less I trust people.
Mhm.
And like you, I mean, not that my life was as hard. I was blessed in many ways, but I have been lied to many, many times and let down many times. And like after a while, it's like you find it really hard to trust people after a while, don't you?
Yes, really
And
hard.
and I also noticed that you've had several deaths in your life, and I think that when the people you love end up dying, it sort of builds this like, well, what's the point of building a relationship if they're gonna leave anyway? You
Yeah,
know?
and it was like I felt as though the younger me felt like I got left behind. I didn't understand death at the time.
Hmm.
So I just felt like when my grandma passed away, I was like, wow, I'm now by myself. I wasn't that close with my mom yet. I didn't really like, I honestly, I really didn't like my dad my whole life. I just knew he didn't understand me.
Hmm.
I loved him, don't get me wrong, because that's my father, but at the same time, like,
You loved him, but you didn't like him.
yeah. And I don't know, I just felt like I constantly got let down in my own house. So when it happened out on the streets, like it wasn't as personal or as bad, but it still hurt. And I don't really like being hurt. I'm very sensitive, but I come off like when I get hurt, I come off aggressive. And I don't like doing that. And I'm trying to like change the way for that.
Yeah, the body does this weird thing. Have you ever heard of I'm gonna call it a theory for now that anger is like a second emotion, and that like basically what the body does is it takes sadness and it turns it into anger because anger is easier to handle.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. I call it fight or flight.
Yeah, it's true that the body does that. And one thing I wanted to say in the beginning, I didn't get to say, is I can actually relate to you a lot because my ex is actually one of my best friends. So, and you know, she's been through a lot. She's been through hell. Her life, I would say, was just as equally hard as yours. Really, really messed up life. I did a podcast with her that I'm gonna send you. But you know, she's one of my best friends today. So I totally understand the concept of remaining friends with your ex, and I get it because you know people have been through a lot, you know.
Yeah, they really have. And like my one like I still say we're not together. I still call him my man though.
Hmm.
Me and him have such similar his I'm not going to speak too much on his life because it's a little bit more harsher than mine was. The world wasn't too good to him either, but we have a lot of similarities, like even in our family dynamic too.
Hmm.
And it's weird when you hear it from somebody else that like, and you can relate to it and like not just be like, oh, I totally understand you, but it's like, oh my God, like I really understand what you're saying. And it's weird to hear it from somebody, especially like somebody you're real close to too. And he had said something to me one time. We were playing this game and we were like, I asked him, I said, what is one thing that you wish you could take away from me? He said, I wish I could take all the pain that the world gave you, like the hurt in you. And that kind of still stuck with me. And I do hear that like every day in my head. So like that moment when he said that was like, wow, someone finally saw me, like sees and like saw me and heard me. So and that's the one who I'm with. Like I'm with him right now, but that's he doesn't realize how much of an important part he plays in my life.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear when you speak is what I hear is that throughout your entire life, nobody really validated you, and everyone pretty much just like shrugged off and doubted. The word I would use is doubted your emotions and invalidated you and invalidated how you feel about yourself and how you view yourself and how you view the world. And then finally, this guy comes along and finally makes you feel validated for once in your life.
Yeah, honestly, that's very true. I've been in like three different relationships before him, and I don't know. He might think I'm like fabricating it or just telling him what he wants to hear, but he's very different from any man I've dated. And that's why he means so much to me. And I would like try to move mountains to like try to please him in a sense. I know I'm gonna mess up and run into walls sometimes, but it really became like more so of a mission to make sure I can do right by him. And like I said, I'm gonna mess up sometimes, but I'm still trying.
Yeah.
Um, but that's because he is the one who like validated me and saw me. Even though most of the times I don't always get compliments from him, but his actions show, not just his words. And him being like when I said earlier in the conversation where I was like, I noticed that he had to stop his life to help me too. Like that right there. And sometimes I'm very hard-headed, so I don't see it that way because I let my emotions get the best of me sometimes. And I'm pretty sure everybody like lets their emotions get the best of them at one point or another, but I do see what he's doing and I do see how he is with me and I really I can't appreciate another human being more than I appreciate him. And I really, really do appreciate him a lot.
Yeah,
and I owe him my life.
yeah, it sounds like you finally got lucky for once, and I'm really glad that you not only you found him, but you stick by him. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to give back to someone who gave you a lot, and especially in this harsh world where people are just constantly trying to take things from you. So Dominica, I kind of ran out of questions. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we wrap it up?
I just want to say, moving forward in life, to everybody that is like watching and listening, keep your head up, keep moving forward, and really don't take what anybody has to say to you. Don't take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it too personal. Everybody's going to have an opinion on you. It's just about how you move through all those opinions to get to the other side. And, they're just opinions. And
Yep.
people are going to give you opinions without you even wanting them. But them opinions are not paying your bills.
Yeah.
So you have to just keep it moving.
Yeah, don't let your self-esteem be dictated by other people's subjective opinions, like you said, that are just opinions, they're not facts. And also, to add on to that, you are allowed to cut family off, and you are allowed to not like your family, and you are allowed to not love your family. Just add
Exactly.
that.
Make sure I always say love yourself before you can't if you can't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. So if you have to be good for yourself first to be good for everybody else.
It was great talking to you, Dominica.
You too. Thank you.
All right, we'll have a part two soon.
All right, definitely. I look forward to it.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye.